Well, how did things fare in the House of Representatives? Let's watch this report.
Lawmakers in the House of Representatives gathered in plenary as they resumed from their annual recess. The Speaker commenced plenary with a welcome address in which he made comment on several developments in the country that occurred while the National Assembly was on recess, such as the news of Nigeria's exit from recession.
We must caution, however, that the implementation of policies and hard work necessary to sustain a sound and productive economy, which the National Assembly highlighted in the resolution sent to the President earlier, should be continued with even greater vigor to ensure that our people enjoy the positive impact of the exit. We shall, in this respect, make our oversight of the executive branch most robust, effective, and informed.
The agitation and calls for restructuring from different parts of the country, however, is the major focus of the Speaker.
As an institution, this House stands firmly on the side of those who seek equity, fairness, and justice, so long as such is pursued in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which we, as honorable members, have sworn to protect and preserve. Anyone or group who assaults our Constitution will not find a partner here, because our oath of office repels it. But those who stand for justice, fairness, and equity will have partners in us, because our oath of office compels it. We will work shoulder to shoulder with all those working within the ambit of the Constitution and the law for all Nigerians, regardless of creed or ethnicity, to be first-class citizens, as no nation can truly be first-class if it harbors within its borders second or third-class citizens.
Another issue that has attracted much discussion is the NGO regulation bill. The Speaker takes a clear position on the matter.
Everyone should understand that the principal objective of the NGO regulation bill is to inject transparency, accountability, and prevent the subversion of national security from both within and without. No one can, no indeed should gag the operations of NGOs in Nigeria. But just as they aspire for this freedom, it must be amply stated that freedom does not come without responsibility, as there is no such thing as freedom to be irresponsible. There are also desperate attempts to instigate religious bodies and cultural organizations to oppose the bill by spreading falsehood that they are the target of this bill. For the avoidance of doubt, let me categorically state once again, the churches, mosques, Isuzu, market women associations, etc., as well as local quasi-financial institutions are not NGOs, and thus the bill has nothing to do with their operations. The legislative process cannot be short-circuited. The National Assembly cannot be intimidated into abandoning its sacred legislative duties of providing a platform for Nigerians to agree or disagree on any proposed legislative measure. This openness and transparency is what the NGOs have always canvassed and promoted, and they should therefore embrace this opportunity to interrogate the issues with open arms.
The majority leader of the House immediately follows this speech with a motion that calls for a committee to be set up to meet with the different groups across the country and the need to revisit the issue of devolution of powers in the interest of the unity of Nigeria.
This House notes that there have been different agitations across Nigeria leading to divergent views on the suitability of redefining the structures upon which the unity of Nigeria rests upon. These agitations have resulted in proscription of groups, loss of lives, and judicial pronouncements. Concerned that events of the last few weeks brought Nigeria close to a precipice, but for the determination of Nigerians in their various show of commitment to the peace and unity of this country, we do not know what would have happened as of this day. Mr. Speaker, convinced that this is the time for the House of Representatives, who hold brief for their teeming constituents, to drop partisan politics, ethnic and religious interests and biases, and speak in one voice to save our country from disintegration. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we are assured that the House stands for the codependence of the regions of this country.
The motion is then put to vote.
The committee we impanel will finish its work, report back to us, and then we can debate their recommendations thereafter. But however, as leaders, we should never lose sight of the fact that we can only be remembered for issues we confront and solve, not things that we will avoid. So certainly, we will have to face this one, confront it quietly, and see what solutions we'll be able to provide. So I put the question. Those in favor of the motion say aye. Aye. Those against it say nay. The ayes have it.
A committee which is being chaired by the Deputy Speaker, Lasun Yusuf, is to submit its report in 8 weeks. The spokesman of the House of Representatives has, however, cautioned Nigerians not to expect the Devolution of Power Bill, which is to be reintroduced for consideration, to be passed automatically. He says the recently constituted ad hoc committee on political agitations in Nigeria, which is to travel and collate views across the country, will come up with their report, which will be integrated into the bill.
It is because we are committed to reintroduce that bill, because of the hue and cry of Nigerians that particular issue of devolution of power should be revisited, that we have agreed that we will reintroduce it. And it is because of our commitment that we put up an ad hoc committee called Ad hoc Committee on Political Agitations in Nigeria. And you are aware this committee was given the 8 weeks within which to turn in their report. So we will actually collect the views of these Nigerians, and then when we look at the report of the committee, we will now incorporate this and then see how we can reintroduce the bill on the devolution of power to see whether it can go through. And I want to say that the mere fact that we say we are going to revisit the issue of devolution of power does not mean that it is automatic that we still have to vote on it. They will go through the same process. So I think it should not be mistaken that because we say we are reintroducing the devolution of powers, it's like we have known the answer before we started. No, it will still go through process of voting, and the outcome of the voting is what will also be taken. So that means it could pass or it could fail. How we wish it could also pass, but that is the situation.